Hi there, welcome back to more Heileen 3. What is it called? New Horizons, yes, that's it. Let us begin. It will take 2 days to reach the destination. Wow, let's see what I can do then. Oh my lord. Oh, a breakthrough. A breakthrough, duckies. Still again. Navigation is my thing. I just finished eating my lunch. I decided to resume my daily routine and help Marco in the kitchen. Heileen, there you are. Hello, Marco. We have no time for greetings. Let's cook. Go cook now. Alright then. Jeez. It's my first time seeing Marco like this. It's understandable though. He was in a panic because some of Morgan's important friends were visiting the ship. As minutes passed by, Marco became more and more finicky. No. If you put it on that temperature, it won't be cooked in time. Sorry. Now, just stir this slowly. Okay, remember, slowly. He handed me the ladle he was using and I started to stir. Too fast. Drink slowly, like this, okay? I get it. Jeez, Marco, lighten up. After a few minutes, Jonathan appeared. I finally found you, Heileen. Hey, Jonathan. What are you doing here? Jonathan appeared to have not heard Marco as he continued talking to me. Do you want another match? He showed me the chessboard, and when Marco saw it, he started to turn red with anger. No. Sorry, Marco, but I wasn't asking you. If you'd like, though, we can have one too. No, get out of here. What was meaning to ask Heileen? Marco got even more annoyed and started hitting Jonathan with his rolling pin. Hey, ow. Jonathan made a run for it and Marco chased him, still stabbing him with the rolling pin. What? Marco, stop that. He's making us waste our time. You could have just, told me that, you don't have time, Jonathan continued running in circles, shouting like a dog every time Marco managed to hit him. When they passed me for the 5th time, I stopped Marco by grabbing his shoulders. Marco, calm down, okay? Marco started breathing heavily and gave Jonathan an evil look. Hey, there's some sort of dog here in the kitchen. Juliet and Morgan arrived, and Juliet eyed the room suspiciously. There's no dog in here, why'd you ask? But I could have sworn I heard something, or someone, barking. Was it you, Jonathan? Morgan hushed Juliet, and she stopped asking questions. Anyway, how are the preparations? Sorry, but we're falling behind. As if that wasn't enough, Jonathan is now in here distracting Heileen. Morgan, Marco, and Juliet glared at Jonathan in a very scary manner. If I were him, I'd be running for my life. Listen here, Jonathan. Even if you are paying for your stay, you shouldn't be interfering with the daily tasks. Especially if we're having guests on board. Ask Morgan if Ibile can help cooking. Why don't we ask Ibile to cook another batch of dishes? All three of them stopped glaring at Jonathan and looked at me. What did you just say? You know, the guests can eat Marco's dishes and the crew can eat the backup dishes made by Ibile. Oh, that's a really great idea, Birdie. Now let me ask you a question. What is it? Oh boy, the tone of sarcasm in Juliet's voice was really evident at that time. Is my idea really that stupid? Are you insane? Huh? If we do that, the crew will all become goddamn rebels and turn against us. I looked at Morgan to see if he agreed with Juliet. It's not really that. The crew isn't picky. As long as they can eat, they'll be fine. I was about to give Juliet an in-your-face look, but however, if my guests notice that the crew is eating something different, they get suspicious of me. So your idea is definitely a bad one, and I suggest that you work hard instead. F you, Morgan. F you. Morgan left the room, but Juliet stayed. You better have everything ready for tonight or else. Juliet gave Marco her death-glaring pending doom, which caused her to look away while shaking in fear. Yes, ma'am. Good. Juliet, are you coming or not? And with that, Juliet returned and followed Morgan. Jonathan came over to us when he was sure Juliet had gone. Hey, I have an idea. Why are you so persistent? Jonathan ignored Marco and started to turn red. If you'd like, we could play here in the kitchen. I'll help with the cooking. Absolutely not. But Marco, it's not really a bad idea, is it? Look, we still have so many potatoes to peel. Do you think you can peel that and play chess at the same time? Marco pointed at a huge pile of potatoes. Ask Jonathan to help you. Jonathan and I can do it, right, Jonathan? I nudged Jonathan's shoulder and he nodded his head. Are you sure? Of course. You better be. I don't want Juliet to kill all three of us. Don't worry, we'll handle this. Marco turned to check the food he was cooking and I turned to Jonathan. We'd have a chess match while peeling the potatoes. Jonathan set the chessboard on a small table near us and we began. The two of us peeled the potatoes between moves, so we weren't really able to concentrate on the match. We managed to have some fun and we also managed to do a lot of work. So when we were done, Marco just nodded his head and wasn't able to complain about anything. Great job, Jonathan. Thanks for the help. It was nothing. I had fun doing all this because I was with you. What did he just say? Here we go. Hey, Bella. Maria and I were on our way to the colony to teach children rudimentary reading and writing when we were suddenly distracted by the presence of a man taking a nap under the shade of a tree. Said man was actually Sebastian. He looked like he was in very deep slumber. He was snoring really loudly, and I could swear that I saw a tiny bit of drool trickle down his left cheek. Upon seeing the rather disturbing yet comical position he was in, I couldn't help but let out a small laugh. Marie, however, didn't look amused. She looked upset, to say the least. Look at him, just slacking off, wasting the whole day. How disgraceful. Then, when we thought we were about to leave him be, Marie went closer to him. Oh boy, I wonder what she's up to now. Sebastian, do you want us to go with us to the fields? Marie continued to call out his name, but she wasn't able to get a response. So she called out in a louder voice. She even started shaking him back and forth, but it seemed that all her efforts to wake him up were futile. He's either a really deep sleeper or he's just pretending. I think it's the latter, though, for he's mysteriously stopped snoring. When I was about to point this out to Marie, Sebastian suddenly gave a reply. It's too hot to do anything. Why don't you girls just join me for a nap here on the fresh grass? No way. Come on, you can even cuddle with me if you like. Don't accept the offer. No way. Suit yourself. Now then, I hate to be rude, but please leave me in peace. Sebastian stretched and put his back to us, thus continuing his sleep. That was when an idea suddenly hit me, whispering, "Psst, Marie." "Yeah? What'd you say we get Sebastian to wake up?" "How?" "Oh, I don't know, kick him where it really hurts." "Really? You want me to make it really painful?" "Yes, give it all you've got." "But he might never have children once I'm done with him." "Oh, no, don't kick him in there. His shin will have to do." "Alrighty then." Marie slowly walked up to Sebastian and gave him a quick, powerful kick in the shins. "Ouch, what on earth was that for?" He stood up and started muttering curses at Marie while rubbing his shins at the same time. I couldn't help but laugh out loud at the sight of Sebastian and Marie arguing. The serious look on Marie's face was only making me laugh even more. "I don't see why I should join you guys, so why are you forcing me to come along? I'm not really good with kids, mind you." "Well, you're a Spaniard, aren't you?" "See, but I don't see the point of making me come with you. Some of the Spanish kids can barely speak and understand English. I'm having some difficulty with them, so if you're with us, you'll be able to translate, and they'll perfectly understand what I'm saying." Sebastian paused to think. "If you don't join us, you'll make Heileen sad." "Hey, why do I have to get in?" Marie painfully jabbed me in the ribs, and all I could do was shut my mouth and whimper. After a few moments, Sebastian sighed and nodded his head. "Fine, I'll go with you." All three of us arrived in the fields, and Sebastian and I listened to Marie's lesson. It may not seem like it, but Marie was really an excellent teacher. When the lesson was over, all three of us waved goodbye to the kids and left. Once we were outside, a young kid approached us and asked for some money. Sebastian gave him a sour look and backed away from him. "Don't give him anything." "Why do you need the money, young boy?" I wanted something to eat, but I don't have the money to buy." "Hey, when I was shipwrecked, I ate nothing but fruit and vegetables without spending a single cent. The way I see it, there's great abundance of both here in the colony. So if you really want to eat, take action instead of relying on the money you'll beg from random strangers." Young boy looked at me confused. Once he realised that he wouldn't get anything, he walked away. "That was very good advice, Heileen. Too bad the young lad didn't get it, though." "You think so?" "Yeah, people like him really need to take action for themselves, not ask from people they don't even know." "Whatever you think of doing today, stop immediately." "Why?" "We're sailing for a colony nearby. It will take 2 days to reach the destination." "I see, thanks for telling me, I guess. Now find something useful to do." Morgan, Juliet and I were in Port Royal again, having our usual business talk with the other pirate leaders. Everything was running smoothly until it was time to distribute the last bounty. Morgan handed me a map that was oddly larger than what the rest got. "Here you go." "Thanks." Juliet looked at my shirt and then furrowed her eyebrows. "Hey." "What?" "Why does she get a larger part than me? She doesn't even participate in the fights." Juliet turned to me, and a sudden feeling of fear enveloped me. Are you sleeping with Morgan or something?" My feelings of fear disappeared and turned into one of embarrassment. "What? No way! Do I look like that kind of woman to you?" I noticed Morgan's face turning red. He must have been embarrassed as well. "I don't know. What I want to know is, why do you get a larger amount of money than me? I don't even know myself." "Liar." "Juliet, watch your mouth. And tell me why this wimpy little girl who doesn't even fight gets a larger share than me." Did she just call me wimpy? Listen, Juliet, even if Heileen takes no part in the action, her valuable suggestions have been nothing but useful and are worth more than 1,000 fights. Take that, Juliet. I may be wimpy, but I've got brains. Anyone can give suggestions, you know. Tell Juliet to shut up. I rightfully serve this portion, so I defend myself. She's trying to cheat me out of my rightful money. You'd have thought that this room was filled with nothing but pirates. I know how to get her off my back. Juliet, what? Why don't you just stop? I don't take orders from the likes of you, Birdie. I want my answer and I want to get it now. But didn't you just hear what Morgan said? If you're not happy with his decisions, then I suggest you find someone else to follow. Juliet looked taken aback by my words, but I decided to continue. Besides, if ouch, Morgan had just elbowed me in the ribs. Stop that. Why? Just stop it, okay? Look at Juliet. I took a quick look at Juliet and I noticed she'd gone completely silent. She had even started to shake. And she pushed me aside and ran for the door. Wait, did I just see tears forming in her eyes? Oh my, don't tell me I made her cry. Oh shoot, Juliet, wait. Morgan ran after her and I quickly followed. Once I got outside, Morgan and Juliet were nowhere to be found. Where did they go? I decided to ask around if anyone saw them. Excuse me, have you seen two pirates pass by, a man and a woman? They passed by not too long ago. I think they were headed for the docks. Thank you. I made my way to the docks. When I arrived, I instantly saw Morgan and Juliet. I went close to them and realised that Morgan was holding Juliet's hand and trying to comfort her. Once Morgan noticed me approaching, he immediately let go. Are you okay, Juliet? Yeah, listen, Birdie, I'm... Juliet blushed and fell silent. You're what? I'm sorry about that. My eyes widened as Juliet bowed her head. It's my first time seeing Juliet like this. She must have been through a lot. Say something. Oh yeah, sorry for that. I reached for Juliet's hands and smiled at her. Juliet, I accept your apology. Juliet smiled back at me, and after a few seconds, the usual pissed expression returned. If anyone hears about this, I'm going to kill the both of you. Morgan started to laugh as he patted Juliet on the back. Don't worry, it'll be our secret. Oh my god! Navigation is my thing. And there you go. You're grasping this quickly. It was late evening. I was busy helping Juliet with her math and accounting lessons. I had just concluded the session with her. Juliet examined her work and compared it to my completed examples, smiling in satisfaction. The desk in her cabinet was covered in various documents and parchments as we pored over the records, both new and old. I did not know what to be more astonished about, the fact that Juliet was learning at this a reasonable pace, or that she was relatively calm and composed during the tutorial. At least she stopped stabbing the table whenever she got frustrated. You're not a bad teacher, Birdie. Even you can be eloquent once in a while, and here I thought you were just a spoiled rich lady. Well, I can't exactly deny. I trailed off as I noticed Juliet was deep in thought, scrutinising me from head to toe as if she was evaluating me. I coughed and shuffled some papers to divert her attention, but it was proven futile. Lady, oh, I know. From now on I shall call you Lady Bird. Lady Bird? Not just Birdie? But I'm no longer a bird, I'm a bug. Exactly, and one that I can crush easy if you're not too careful around me. Just because you're giving me lessons doesn't mean it gives you permission to act chummy with me. I cannot tell if that sobriquet was a step up or down in Juliet's eyes. We should probably call it a night. I think we went over enough math problems already today. I stood up and gathered the utensils and books that I used to assist Juliet. The quartermaster began stacking the papers and piling up the accounts all over her desk. Her desk was always a mess, and no attempt had been made to tidy it up since I started tutoring her. I offered to help clean up. Here, I can help you clean before I go. Despite my offer, I anticipated Juliet would refuse and urge me to leave. However, she looked up from her papers and mumbled a hesitant line. Do what you want. I assisted Juliet in organising the books and counting documents, being mindful not to stoop around while I opened up cabinets to place them inside. When we finished, I turned to leave when something caught my eye. Hanging off the peg was a small circular object, its outer circle cased in bronze. There were letters and numbers etched, along with metal pointers jutting out of the dish-shaped device. In the centre was a perfect hole. Curious, I approached the instrument and gingerly prodded the pointer. What are you dawdling here for? Juliet's voice startled me, and I whirled around, timidly pointing to the instrument. Sorry, I was wondering what that was. The designs are ornate and it's beautifully made. Where did you get it? We stole it, of course. It's a nocturlabe, a very important navigational device. A well-crafted instrument like this was too good to pass up, so we took it with us. What does it do exactly? It tells time at night like a sundial. Baffled, I picked up the item from the wall and began inspecting the etches, realising that it was referring to the months and days. I lifted the device close to my face and peered through the hole with one eye, focusing on Juliet. She smirked and tapped a finger against her hip as she watched me. How does this work? You're close. First you need to be outside for it to work properly. Makes sense. Would you like to know how to use it? My eyes widened in surprise. After a pause, I gave a tentative nod and immediately followed Juliet to the main deck of Morning Star. The ship swayed gently on the calm Caribbean waters, and the breeze felt great against my cheeks. There was not a cloud in the sky as the stars shone brightly, with only a sliver of a moon accompanying them. Bah, it's easier to show than explain. I watched with interest as Juliet lined up the movable disc, then positioned the nocturlabe to her eye and angled it towards the Little Dipper constellation. She then adjusted the larger pointer on the instrument, and then lowered the device to read it next to a fixed lantern attached to the mast. The lantern's soft glow complemented her long hair and grey eyes, and realised how beautiful she looked when she was not barking orders or swinging swords. It's 11 o'clock, give or take 15 minutes. So what did you do? First you line up the disc at the correct date and pick a reference star. I used Kochab and Firkad, but you can also use the pointer stars of the Big Dipper. She handed the nocturlabe over to me and directed me to constellation, instructing me to use the two outer edge stars of the constellation. Now find the North Star using the opening in the centre, more toward the horizon, just above the water, Ladybird. Yes, that's the one. Rotate the pointer until it is lined up with the two reference stars you're using. Got it. It's 11:30? Surely it didn't take half an hour to figure this out. Juliet laughed, crossing her arms in a boastful manner. I don't know, you were rather slow. I pouted and Juliet emitted a softer chuckle. It's a rolling motion of the ship. It's not easy to align everything up perfectly, but when it requires holding the device steady, there's other factors as well, but it would take too long to go into detail tonight. Try again. Try one more time. Okay, I'll be more precise this time. I used the stars Juliet referenced earlier. I made sure I was meticulous throughout this procedure, double checking my alignment many times before announcing the reading. 11:30. Despite my obvious discouragement, Juliet smiled warmly. I think that's a rather accurate reading this time. Why is it so important to know the time at night anyway? Planning secret sneaky pirate attacks? There is that, but we also use it to indicate the times of high tides at ports. We want to enter the port when the tide is flowing and leave port when the tide is ebbing. If you look on the other side of the nocturlabe, there's markers we use for tide calculations. Wow, I had no idea. While navigating, telling time and predicting high tides, it's all very complicated. And I only know the basics. We have a main navigator who specialises in all this, but Morgan also possesses the same skills. If something will happen to them, I can step in if possible. I see, Juliet. Thank you for showing me how to use this. The more I spend time with her, the more I realise pirates require a lot of expertise and knowledge, and not just fighting capabilities. I turned the nocturlabe to her. It wasn't a problem, Ladybird. Believe me, if I felt you were a hopeless cause, I wouldn't have bothered. And think of it as an exchange for the maths lessons. I nodded. Despite her indifferent attitude, I could sense an inkling of war behind her words. Deciding not to push my luck, I thanked her again and retired to my cabin. As soon as I crawled into bed, I could sense something shifting on the sheets and creeping closer to me. I peered down and smiled at Black, who contentedly curled up beside my shoulder. I rolled to my side and began petting his soft fur. Moments later he purred as I scratched behind his ear. You're out late. Did something good happen? What makes you say that? You're smiling. It's nothing. I just feel that Juliet is opening up to me more, even if she denies it. Interesting. Even if she has trouble showing it, I think she appreciates the company. Whenever I go out to catch rats, more like sneak off with fish from the galley. Ahem. And I spot Juliet wandering the ship. She always seems so lonely. Even though she has Morgan? A pang of memory was felt in my heart. But whether it was the thought of Juliet hogging Morgan to herself or Morgan being close to Juliet, I could not decipher. The relationship was so equivocal as well that there was no point in mulling over it. I believe there's depths that even the captain can't reach when it comes to Juliet's taciturn heart. But if you continue to bond with her, she may see you as an irreplaceable friend, perhaps more. My mind was too tired to fully comprehend his words, and I brushed them off as mere ramblings. I simply mumbled an agreement and continued to stroke his warm fur until I drifted off to sleep. Oh my god. Oh my lords. Marie and I were taking our usual evening walk on the bridge when we saw Laura and Sebastian walking together. I really don't like that man. There's just something about him that isn't right. Well, he's not evil, but he does give me the creeps sometimes. In truth, I thought he was actually very attractive, but I didn't want Marie to know that. The moment Marie and I got closer, Sebastian turned to stare at me with his penetrating gaze. You know what, Heileen? I was just talking with Laura about you. Oh, really? What were you talking about? I was talking about how the two of you are so beautiful you could pass for a mother and daughter. I truly appreciated his compliment, but I didn't want to show it, not with Maria around. Tell him he's right. You're right about that, Sebastian. When did I ever say something that wasn't right? Back in Liverpool, a lot of people stopped Laura to compliment her on her beautiful daughter. More people call me beautiful than her. Funny. I only realised that I exaggerated things when I saw Laura smirk behind Sebastian. Sebastian took a few steps backward and stared at us. It would be truly difficult to choose between the two of you. Excuse me, choose for what? Nothing, I was just... You can't choose between the two of them. Laura is already with Otto and Heileen doesn't like you, so don't bother choosing. Marie, don't talk like that. Sebastian moved closer to Marie and started caressing her face. Marie's earlier toughness disappeared and she seemed to be frozen in place. You're very cute too, you know that. Maria's eyes widened just as he let go of her. She blinked and shook her head. Otto... Then he walked away, still laughing and leaving a fuming Marie behind. But as he left, he never took his eyes off Laura, who looked right back at him with a light blush on her face. God, what an arrogant bastard. And how dare he laugh at Otto? He's clearly a much, much better man than Sebastian. Ignore him, Marie. Just ignore him and calm down. You're right, he's not worth venting my anger about. Oh yeah, speaking of Otto, he did this really funny thing yesterday when Marie and I started talking about other things, and whenever I sensed that the current topic would involve Sebastian, I quickly changed it again. But our conversation was suddenly interrupted by Laura, who asked if she could leave. I feel really tired now. I think I should go to bed early. Sure thing, Laura. Have a nice sleep. Thanks. Now please excuse me. Laura left, and I was left wondering what she was really going to do. She only went to sleep early when she felt ill, so there's definitely something fishy going on. I have to go as well, Marie. I just remember that Morgan asked me to visit him after dinner. I see. Then I should just guess I should just go back to my cabin, huh? Yeah, we'll talk some other time, okay? Okay. I left Marie and made my way to Laura and Otto's cabin. Upon arriving, I leaned my ear to the cabin's door, and the only thing I heard was Otto's snores. It doesn't sound like Laura's in here. Where could she possibly be? Maybe she followed Sebastian or something. Then it hit me. Oh no, it can't be. I hurriedly made a run for Sebastian's cabin, and once I arrived, I leaned my ear up to the cabin's door to eavesdrop. It was completely silent, a little too silent in my opinion. If Sebastian was really sleeping, I should have heard snores by now. Then all of a sudden I could hear a woman's moans, the sound of two people kissing. Wait, that moaning, that was Laura. I was unsure of what to do next, but then I started hearing footsteps, so I decided to keep listening. I can't do this, Sebastian, I'm sorry. I know you want it and you'll definitely stay. No, I'm going to leave and don't you dare try to stop me. Please, be my guest. You can leave any time you want. Then silence fell. What are you waiting for? I thought you were going to leave. Why are you sitting on the bed again? Don't get involved. I don't think I should get involved in all this mess. Even if the thought of Sebastian and Laura making out is wrong, I have no right to just barge in and get angry. Even if I did it for poor Uncle Otto, they'd never listen. Laura would only tell me that Otto allows her to flirt with other guys, but still, sniff. My poor, poor uncle. Tears started pouring out of my eyes and began to sob. Even though I tried my best to be as silent as possible, Laura must have heard me, for she opened the door and began to comfort me. I'm so sorry, my dear. I'm so sorry. Laura grabbed me up in a hug, and when I looked up, I saw Sebastian watching us with a sad look on his face. What were you doing, Sebastian? Didn't Marie already tell you that Laura's with Otto? Before jumping to silly conclusions, why don't you take a good look around the cabin? What about it? It's my cabin, Heileen, which means Laura came here by herself. You're lying. I'm not. I left earlier than you guys, didn't I? I stayed in my cabin the whole time, and I heard someone knock. When I opened the door, it turned out to be Laura. She asked me to... No. Laura put her hand on his mouth and whispered something into his ear. He shrugged and quietly went into his cabin. I hope you can forgive me for what I was about to do, dear. I couldn't stop myself. Why do you always have to do that to Otto? I already explained everything before, didn't I? Otto gives me permission to do as I please. I was young back then, so I believed it. But now that I'm older, I'm not sure whether you should believe it. I should believe you or not. You don't believe we had an agreement? I don't, and I really doubt my uncle would agree to something as disgraceful as that. He may be a lot of things, but he's not stupid. Laura held both my hands and I stopped myself from pulling them away from her. Heileen, dear, did you know that many years ago a wealthy noble asked my hand in marriage? Really? Yes, but if I had become his wife, that meant I would have to leave Otto, so I rejected him. That's why your uncle lets me do whatever I want and doesn't restrain me. Is that so? But do you really love him? What kind of question is that? Of course I do. What I'm doing is simply for the sake of having fun, but in the end I'll always return to Otto. I see. So please, Heileen, forgive me. I don't know. Perhaps you are mad at me since you caught me kissing a man you like, so I promise that I won't kiss Sebastian anymore. What? I don't know. Just forget about it and return to your cabin. I walked away from Laura and refused to look back when she called out my name. I'm still very angry with what she's done, but if I were in her place, I wouldn't know what to do or say either. Juliet told me to sail into another colony. The travel lasts 2 days, so I should find something else to do while aboard. Oh. Alright, sorry. Just had a belay for us. Belay's good at most things. Let's go out with Belay again. Ugh, I wish I was better at sketching. It's easier to just dry them and catalogue them that way. I crossed out my poorly shaped doodle and glanced at the berries nestled in my lap. What are you doing? Oh, Belay. I glanced over and she looked at me curiously. I was sitting under a shady tree overlooking the beach before me, trying to organise and keep track of all the plants we've encountered so far. Some have already been discovered and catalogued by previous explorers, but there's a few plants that no one seems to know of. I gestured to the wide red berries. I don't know what I should call them for now, but they're delicious and Marcus says they're excellent when their juice is mixed with rum. Maybe you should name them after a similar plant found in England. Also, about the bark you found earlier, any uses for it? Seems to help with rashes and irritation on the skin. It leaves a nice cooling sensation. Great, I'll jot that discovery down too. When I'm done, I'll help gather some more herbs. I'm sorry if I seem preoccupied. She laughed and waved her hand. No, I think this is beneficial. When you're done, I'd like to use it as a reference. And you've been a big help so far. I just need to learn how to sketch better so the drawings actually resemble the real thing. These berries, oh, I know. I should call them red berries. Great name, right? Maybe you should ponder on that some more. Sweet berries, mini cherries. I gave up and put the materials back into my basket. I spent the rest of the afternoon with the Belays who bounced name ideas back and forth while I settled on rumberry due to their compatibility with the beverage. Woo! Careful! I've got to rest. Frame with yes. I stepped into the Catholic church, relieved that it was nearly empty. There were a few priests talking to some followers, and I quietly went to the pew near the front and had a good view of the altar. The church was modest, but it felt welcoming. This time I brought the Bible with me for some reading. That jumped onto the pew and cuddled as usual. I'm surprised no one chased you out yet. Are black cats bad luck? I'm a ship's cat, which is considered good luck. They cancel out. I chuckled and fondly petted him while I read through the book. I felt Black move and then discreetly slip into the pew as I heard footsteps approaching. I looked up and saw the pastor, simply nodding at me in approval. If you have any questions to ask, child, feel free to seek me. Thank you. I'd lost track of the time, and it was not until I gently touched my shoulder that I realised it was already mid-afternoon. You're so diligent. However, you must be sore from sitting here all day. Why don't you help us in the herb garden? You grow gardens here? Yes, we grow herbs and food so we can feed the poor or any children that have nowhere else to go. I perked up and closed the book. Can you lead the way? I'd like to help out if I can. She smiled warmly and ushered me through a side door and led me outside behind the church. There were a few other nuns peacefully gardening or praying. It seemed like a humble but serene life. I spent the rest of the afternoon helping in the garden until I was ready to head home. Once I found Black, we returned to the ship. The Bible clutched to my chest. Woo! Let's go back. Got it. Juliet, blah 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 blah. Bang. My skin has been much softer and healthier lately. I guess what people say about the sea air being good for your skin is true. Feel it, Heileen. Before I could answer, Laura grabbed my wrist and rubbed my hands against her cheek. See? It was late evening and Laura and I were taking a stroll on the bridge. I blushed and carefully withdrew my hand, although I could not hide the surprise on my face. Wow, you were right. And with better skin, I must look younger. What do you think? How many years did I lose? 3? 5? Otter can be the judge of that, I'm sure. Gasp. Do my eyes deceive me? Or is that Ebele with Jonathan? Come, dear, let's take a look. Caught in Laura's pace, I had no choice but follow. Ebele and Jonathan were on the port side, gazing at the sunset together and talking. Laura tapped her lips with a playful finger. Oh my, is this an evening's tryst we're witnessing? I laughed, giving her silly theory a dismissive wave. Not that I didn't think the same thing a while back, nope. Of course not. Jonathan is simply helping Ebele with her writing. I think she's serious about writing a book now. Maybe Jonathan is making each lesson a page-turner. She winked and I rolled my eyes, finding her persistent teasing rather grating now. Please stop with the speculating. Someone might overhear and get the wrong idea. Laura cringed, her smile stretched unnaturally as she nodded in agreement. Like Robert? Yes, it would be disastrous if someone like Robert eavesdropped and actually believed your silly assumptions. I noticed Laura's eyes were looking beyond me, and I followed her gaze. Robert was glowering at Ebele and Jonathan intensely, with his brow furrowed deep. Robert strolled up to the pair intently, standing between Ebele and Jonathan. He placed a protective hand on Ebele's shoulder and gently guided her away. It's late, Ebele. We should be getting to bed. Although his voice was low, there was an edge to it that made Jonathan go rigid. Ebele brushed off Robert's hand, not deterred by his authoritative manner. What are you talking about? It's still evening. What are you doing with him, anyway? Jonathan looked visibly pale as he tried to stutter out a response. We were merely looking at the sunset and while having a pleasant conversation. Exactly. You do not need to act like this, Robert. Wanting to defuse the situation, I immediately began walking towards him despite Laura's protest. Tell Robert to calm down. Robert, calm down. They're not doing anything. If they were, they'd be more private about their meetings. We understand your concern, but you do not need to get upset. Have a little more faith in the Belay. Besides, she wouldn't fall for someone like Jonathan. Hey, I resent that remark. Despite the comment, the lighted-hearted still eased the tension felt within the group. Robert's expression softened and he looked at Ibile warmly. You're right, Ibile, I apologise. It's fine, Robert, and thank you, Heileen. Ooh, I don't fancy Ibile. Robert took Ibile's hand, announcing their retirement for the night. As Ibile followed him, she glanced back at me, casting an inscrutable look that left me puzzled. Laura, who had watched the entire scene from a reasonable distance, decided to join Jonathan and me. So, Jonathan, you really weren't up to anything scandalous with Ibile. It's really about writing? Jonathan blushed and crossed his arms. Of course, I've only been tutoring her and nothing more. Haha, you don't need to get so worked up. I was teasing. Your teasing is what got him into this mess. What was that? Nothing. However, is it just me, or are Ibile and Robert not as madly in love as they used to be? Are you sure about that? They dine together, share the same cabin. I see nothing out of the ordinary. It's how they look at each other. You can see the spark of passion has faded. Heileen, have you noticed? I hate to admit it, but I have noticed they seem more distant than usual. I always thought it was because they're busier now, but I guess there's more to it than that. I caught my head and rubbed my chin, wondering what might have happened. When we were shipwrecked and hunting for food, the two, despite some fights, were inseparable. However, it was just the three of us for the most part. I wonder if it was a change in setting that caused it, being introduced to new people, jobs, tasks, and interactions. Glad to know that I'm not the only observant one here. Believe me, I can sense when the first chilly winds of autumn are cooling down on a summer of passionate love. It seems they're reaching that stage. But why? Is it because they've been together for so long that they're getting bored? Love can be fickle sometimes. The trick is not staying in love, but falling in love with the same person multiple times. Anyway, thank you for the nice chit-chat. I'm sure Abelia and Robert will figure it out. Whatever they decide, let's respect their choice, okay? She gave us a cheerful wave, wiggling her fingers before departing. Jonathan and I stayed up for a little while longer, discussing literature and recommending books. However, my thoughts kept returning to Abelia and her potential relationship troubles with Robert. I concluded that whatever Abelia decided, I would respect it, like Laura said. I just wanted her to be happy. Covering a yawn, I bid Jonathan a good night and retired to my cabin. Blah, 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 blah. Ah, here you are, Heileen. Morgan, what's up? We're about to sail. It will take 2 days to reach the next colony. I think thanks for telling me. Navigation is my thing. Be a looker, be a looker, be a looker, be a looker. Read your books, read your books, read your books, read your books. I'm gonna be a kitchen girl. I'm gonna swab the deck. I'm gonna read my books. There's a big party at the colony with music and dances. However, it's getting late. Should I hang with someone in particular and lose a good amount of energy, or just go to sleep? Just see who we're slitting it up with Marie. Hey, baby. Go to sleep. I decided to go to sleep. Maybe another time. Oh, my lord. Need to rest. Yes, thank you. love, we keep it love, we keep love, we keep it love. Kitchen girl is working blood. Navigation is my thing. Navigation is my thing. Be a lookout, be a lookout. Heileen, do you have a moment? What's up, Ibile? I can't sleep, so I wanted to take a walk on land, but you're afraid to go alone. Exactly. Care to accompany me? I would feel more safer. Yes, I'm coming. I follow Ibile and had fun together. I feel our relationship is getting better. Those two lesbians. However, I'm really exhausted. I lost a good amount of energy. My God, let's cook with bloody Marie. Marie's dishes. Ah, here you are, Heileen. Morgan, what's up? We're going to another colony. It will take 2 days to reach this colony. I see, thanks for telling me. Keep a logbook. Navigation is my thing. Be a lookout, be a lookout. Marie and Billy and I decided to take a break from our daily duties by taking a short walk along Colony Street. Heileen, is that John? Where? There, no wait, over there, the one who's carrying a bag. Marie pointed at John and seemed to be in quite a hurry. What is he doing in a place like this? And not only that, where exactly is he heading? Why don't we follow him so we can find out? Heileen, it's not very polite to spy on someone. Come on, Ibile. We know you want to find what he's up to. Ibile hesitated for him and then finally said yes. Only to find out where he is going, okay? Of course. Yeah, whatever. Now let's go. The three of us carefully followed him. We tried to act as normally as possible, but then Marie shouted all of a sudden, "Hey look, he dropped something. Shh, he might hear us." Stop being so paranoid. There are too many people around. He wouldn't hear us even if we shouted his name at the top of our lungs. So what did he drop? It's a book. Both of our eyes widened. A book? John likes to read? Marie nodded her head as she picked it up. Yeah, seems it. Marie opened it and the skepticism on her face disappeared. It's not a book, it's a diary. When we heard that, Bean and I were even more shocked. A diary? You stop shouting things at the same time. Sorry, but John keeps a diary. Hey, why don't we all read this? I saw a few lines and it looks really interesting. No, we should return it before he realises it's gone missing. Come on, Ibile. It wouldn't hurt to take a peek, would it? I agree with Ibile. I grabbed the diary from Marie's hands. We shouldn't read this. We have to give it back to him. Ibile smiled as she gave me a pat on the back. Marie, however, pouted and looked at me like I just disappointed her. Don't look at me like that. We should at least look at it before we return it to John. Just imagine all the secrets we could unravel. No. Marie opened her mouth in disbelief. But why? Because it would be an invasion of privacy, that's why. I honestly wanted to read it as well, but I was afraid there was something about me written in it. I didn't want them to see that. Especially Maria, if she found out, she'd tell her everything, and the two of them would more likely tease the living daylights out of me. Since when did you care about John's privacy? It's not really that, it's because I used to have a diary when I was still in school. It's very precious to me, and I feel anxious and annoyed whenever someone gets it and reads it. So I'd understand how John would feel if he read this. Marie tried to reason that John's diary was not the same as mine, but I remained vigilant and continued to say no. Suddenly we heard a clap behind our backs. You might as well listen to her, Marie. Heileen is the wisdom of an owl. Marie sighed as the three of us turned around. What is up with the overly cliche metaphor? John smiled at us as he came closer. He must have noticed that the diary had gone missing and came back for it. Can I have the diary now? I'm not sure I want to give it back. Why? This diary holds all your dirty secrets after all. I can just imagine all the new information I can gather from it. John started laughing as he tried to take the diary from my hands. That's not my diary, it's Jonathan's. Oh, so that's why the entries are written so well. How come you have Jonathan's diary? John finally managed to take the diary from me and then he explained. Jonathan forgot his luggage on the ship. And asked me to bring it to him. It showed me the bag he was carrying and we saw various art materials sticking out of it. I see. Well, I'm sorry we had to interfere. Nah, it's okay. I wanted to ask you guys to come with me anyway. Oh, sorry, John. I have to meet up with Robert now. Okay, then. How about you, Marie? No, thanks. Too hot and I'd rather take a quick nap. Marie left with Ebelia and I was left alone with John. Well, Heileen, are you coming with me? Of course. Jonathan's workshop is really close by. I really don't want to hear from someone that you scare the female villagers with your poor seduction techniques. After a few minutes, we finally arrive at Jonathan's workshop. Thank you so much. No problem. Morgan is looking for you, by the way. He said something about helping with the supplies. John groaned in disappointment. Can't I stay? Just tell Morgan I got heat stroke and rested here for a while or something. I can't do that. Hey, you shouldn't keep Morgan waiting. Fine. John left with a sad look on his face. Wait here, Heileen. I'm just going to settle a few things here and now. Then I can come talk to you. No worries. Take your time. While Jonathan was picking his stuff up, a letter fell out of the diary. He didn't notice it though. He just walked into the other room. I picked up the letter to give it him, but there's something written on it. It definitely caught my eye. To my beloved Jonathan. Oh, it looks like a love letter. Should I read it or give it back to it? Read it. I guess a tiny peek won't hurt. I unfolded the letter and started reading. Dear Jonathan, the letter started off as something pretty innocent and clean. But as I read further, a lot of hot stuff was brought up. I found myself getting redder and redder as I went on. Oh my god! Just who the heck was this one and what did they do to each other when they saw each other? That letter is the very last letter I got from a young lady I painted last year. I jumped as I dropped the letter. Jonathan picked it up and put it in the drawer. Don't worry, it's not a real problem. I don't care if you read it or not. This is a thing of the past. He smiled at me, and it's such a gentle smile that I started feeling guilty. I tried changing the topic so the awkwardness would disappear. So how are you and John getting along? Fine. That's it? I guess what so? Why? I don't know, the two of you seem so distant from each other. You think so? Yeah, when you first saw each other you were so happy, but now you still behave in a friendly manner, yes, but I don't really see the two of you spend time together very often. You know, when we were kids we were really close to each other and we did almost everything together. But as we grew up our paths somewhat divided. John chose to live his life as freely as he could, while I chose to be an educated man. Jonathan stared blankly into space as he said that. I think you and John still have something in common, though. Really? What is that? Both of you like to seduce women. Jonathan blinked in surprise and then blushed. To tease him further, I came close to him and whispered a few words into his ear. You do it in a much classier way, though. I gave him a smile as I left his workshop and continued on to my duties. Ah! Wake up again. Talk with Marie. Talk again with Margaret. Another order for pepperoncini al tonno. Right, coming up. Mark and I slaved away in the kitchen trying to fulfill the demands of the patrons. Luckily, there's plenty of rum and alcohol flowing to keep them occupied while we prepared the meals. I carefully filled the peppers with fish and put them on a plate. My skills have improved greatly, and under Marco's guidance, I was able to follow some of his recipes. Oh, the honey cakes! I hastily went to the brick oven and pulled them out with a bread paddle, trying not to burn myself. After I removed the dessert, I placed them on the table to cool. As I stared at the honey cakes, I started to ponder on what else I could create. Does it always have to be honey cake? What if I added another ingredient? As I pondered on the possibilities briefly, Marco caught my attention by poking me with his pan. Heileen, we need more potatoes chopped for our salads. Right. As I deftly tossed up the tomatoes, I glanced in Marco's direction. He was occupied with stirring a type of sea fish stew. The salt and spices filled the air, and I smiled. Despite the business of the tavern, sometimes there would be a few moments where you could just soak up the atmosphere and enjoy the creativity and labour put into preparing delicious meals. Marco, how long have you been cooking for? Your meals have been some of the best I've ever tasted, and that's saying something. After all, I was treated to fancy and gourmet meals back in Liverpool. My parents ran an inn outside Castel Monferrato, and they would often cook for travellers. Of course, it wasn't easy. During that time, there was a recession, so not many people were out trading. However, they brought in knowledge of foods from their own countries, and my parents enjoyed trying new cuisine. So when I was growing up, I'd often dream of travelling to new worlds rarely visited and discovering exotic edible plants and the like. And now you have. It's been fun incorporating all these unique fruits, vegetables and fish into our meals. But I'm getting old and too much excitement isn't for me anymore. Really? You've been doing quite well though, travelling and working at various taverns, and Morgan is grateful to have you aboard. Thank you, Heileen. However, I hope that diamond business is settled soon. I'd like to return to a quieter life eventually. I guess I had told you about it. Figures you two are pretty close. Heileen. He pointed at my hands and looked down, realising the whole conversation. I was cutting tomatoes absent-mindedly. The knife was dangerously close to my fingers now. Eep, thanks for warning me. I guess that means enough chit-chat and back to work. I spoke in a mock stern voice imitating Marco, and he nodded. The rest of the day was rather busy, but I was able to treat myself with the odd honey cake or two. I was starting to get the urge to make my own recipes. As much as I love Marco's cooking, I wanted to branch out even more. Woo! And that is all for this time. Join me again, won't you, for more Heileen 3 New Horizons. Bye now.